Hi, I'm Tapabrata, also known as the Mystifier, or you can call me the Mentalist. You might have spotted me on India's Got Talent Season 6 or Zee Big Celebrity Challenge, or on YouTube or on Facebook. Today I'm here to express about my journey with this mystifying art of mentalism. Now, what is mentalism? Well, mentalism is known as mind magic, as like magic, but it's different from such typical magic like illusion or conjuring. Like there are many conjurers like levitating a woman or sawing a woman in half. That's not a job of a mystifier or a mentalist. A mystifier or a mentalist's job is to deal with people's minds, thoughts, and to read them, to implant thoughts using hypnosis, trickery, and techniques to create ideas and implant those ideas into people's minds. Now, that is a brief description about mentalism. Now, as a performer of mentalism, you take your five senses and you combine with your sixth sense, or as we call it, intuition. We combine them, we practice, and we make it smoother, so it sometimes looks supernatural and sometimes looks like a sixth supernatural sense which does not exist in this world, but it actually does exist, and we don't pay attention to the details of everyday life. That's why we miss it. So that is mentalism. Basically, mentalism is, in one line you can say, to read someone's thoughts. That is mentalism. Now, I started doing magic, like not in magic but this mentalism form. I got into it, like I don't remember, maybe I was 13 or 14, and I was hugely inspired by David Blaine. I saw him doing his card tricks or his endurance stunts or reading someone's mind on the streets, and I was like awestruck. That was for the first thing came into my mind, that this is being done without any showgirls, any huge stage setup, any elaborate or outlandish preparations, and it's being done with simplicity. So it looked like real magic to me, and it still does. Even when I do it, I feel awestruck by it, because the reactions when I get it from people, the reactions, they are pure magic. That's why we do it. That's why an entertainer does what he does or she does, because he or she likes that reaction of the audience. And I started, I think I was about 13 or 14, and I saw David Blaine and I was hugely inspired. And at that time I had no books, no guide. I didn't even know that it was called mentalism. I learned it is called mentalism when I was 16 or 17 I think. Yes, I came to learn this term mentalism, and from there my journey began. So I used to watch David Blaine a lot, and I used to think of him as my idol. I still do, and I used to follow him a lot. And I used to think that how to pull off that stunt where someone is thinking of a playing card and I'm trying to guess it with. So I finally found out my way, and I tried it with friends, families. I performed everywhere, here and there, wherever I could, and it started to work. People started to pay attention, and then when I went to college, I started performing a lot. I mean, I used to skip classes and I used to perform in the cafeteria or in the playground area of my college, and my professors were not so happy about this, as well as my parents. We'll get on to that part. Never, I think. But let's talk about this journey that I had and I'm still having. Now, what to say about mentalism? I mean, sorry, what to say about my journey. There are lots of things that has happened, are happening, and I hope will happen in my life with this art form, because it's a beautiful art form, and I will support anyone if interested to come into this art form and join this so-called society of mind magic, because there are no mind magicians in India that much famous. There are only a few that you can count in one of your finger. I mean, in your index finger, I think. And from that part, I didn't know about this society. I didn't know about magicians. I didn't know about anything when I was 14. So I bought a pack of cards and I started practicing. Whatever I saw, I started doing it at my home, and I started to come up with different ways of doing the same thing that is being done. Now, at that time, I had no idea what the actual process is. So, in that period of time, I actually learned some of the genuine methods of mentalism that I later got to learn about, that those are the real methods. And I figured those out by myself, by doing my practice, and by failures, and through the ups and downs, I actually learned the real techniques of mentalism, and I didn't know about that. And later on, I started reading blogs and other mind magicians. There are many. One of the huge inspiration in my life after David Blaine was, Keith Barry. He's a purely mentalist and hypnotist, so he does some crazy stuff. You can look him up on YouTube. And there was another guy called Darren Brown. He's a legend in UK about mentalism, and I started following their line of work, and I actually saw that the methods that I use and the methods that they use are quite similar, and that is no different. And that's how I learned that there might be some similarities, that I'm coming up to these things and they're doing the same things. So there might be some similarities that are there, but I haven't found out. So I started getting in touch with people. Now, the thing is, in the society, magicians and mentalists are like friends, let me put it in this way. Every mentalist is a magician, but not every magician is a mentalist. That's how it goes. So we are also connected with magicians, and magicians do confer with us. I'm sorry, and we talk about a lot of new stuff, new things that can be done, and we try to combine magic with mentalism, and we try to come up with new things. Now it can be different, and that's how I started. I started to pay more attention to this magicians, the magic techniques, and I found out that magic is all about psychology. And the first thing into mentalism, when you come, you find out that it is really important to understand the psychological aspect of people. So after that, I learned a lot about magic as well as mentalism, and I started doing more card tricks. I wouldn't call it tricks, but card experiments. But it wasn't the conventional pick a card, any card. It was like, think of a card and I'm gonna find your card. You just think of a card in your head, you don't need to pick any card, and I'll try to find your card. So after that, I used to perform in my college. I've told you this already. I used to perform in my college, and from there I went into inter-college competition. It was all in a hype, and I won it. I won the inter-college competition, and it was huge. I came into paper, I won a bike, and that's not the important part, but I got huge support from 28 different colleges. They all cheered for me, and that was the most amazing part. Not winning the bike, though the bike is amazing. Let's not get into that part. But at that point, I understood that this is it. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I pursued it. I never stopped doing it. Yeah, I had quite ups and downs in my marks, but eventually I made it up. And after my graduation, I went into the show business. I mean, I started performing for different corporate companies. Like I've performed for Tata, Vodafone, I've performed for Mahindra, I've performed for, like, if I didn't even lost count. There are budget pains, there's what you call Durashine. There are many. So let's not keep the count and let's focus on what we are talking about, what I'm talking about. And after that, I felt that I need to establish this art form nationally, because people in India still don't know what mentalism is. And after that, I thought it would be a nice thing if I go into the most celebrated talent platform in India, which is known as India's Got Talent. So I went there. It was a rough journey, it was a very tough journey, and I made it to the semi-finals. I became a semi-finalist, and people finally came to know what mentalism or mystifying mind magic is. And they finally started understanding the difference between stage illusion magic and mind mystifying magic. So right now people can understand what is a mystifier, what a mentalist is, and from there it kind of gave me a boost up. And right here I am doing many shows for corporate companies and all, but right now I'm trying to establish this art form more and more. That is my actual goal, to establish this art form in India, because in Western countries this is a multi-million-dollar industry, this mentalism, mystifying, close-up illusions and magic. Not like illusions, stage illusions, but close-up, done in intimate situations. So this kind of mentalism, mystifying art form is a billion-dollar industry in the Western countries. But here it's still known as trickery and some sleight of hand technique when it's not. So this is my goal currently. You can catch me on Facebook. The page is called Tapabrata the Mentalist, Tapabrata the Mentalist. And you can also catch me on YouTube. My videos on YouTube, it's called TC the Mentalist. So I hope you liked what I said about mentalism, and I hope you liked me.